If you're thinking about selling your house, but you're a little concerned, is now the right time to buy the next one? Because if you are, you're not alone. With rates where they are, all the market noise, listen, I've had a number of homeowners that have asked me, Jose, do you think it still makes sense to make a move in 2025? Let's do this. Let's break down the real numbers, real strategies, and why, if you are a homeowner, it might actually make more sense to make that move rather than to wait. If you're watching this video, then maybe you've outgrown the space that you have. You need more room, or maybe it's time to downsize. Maybe you don't need as much room as you have, or maybe you're looking for just something different. Maybe you're looking for new construction, or maybe you're looking to relocate. The point is though, if you're already a homeowner, this next move, it needs to be strategic. Let's start with one of the biggest advantages you have, and that is the equity that you have right now. Reports are that the average homeowner currently has about $300,000 in equity. And here in Southern California, the average homeowner has even more than that. Oftentimes, depending on the city and neighborhood, quite a bit more. What does all that mean for you? Well, what it means is this, is that yes, even though we are still currently in a higher mortgage rate market, you have the power to take that equity and use that and put that down toward the purchase of your next home, which should obviously lead to the need for a smaller mortgage, which will lead to smaller mortgage payments, or if you're looking to downsize, it could lead to eliminating the need for a mortgage altogether. Hey, sorry, real quick, if this is your first time here, my name's Jose and I am your SoCal Realtor. If you are thinking about buying or selling a home, don't hesitate to reach out. My team and I, we've helped many people just like you, and we're here and ready to help you with your next move too. But enough about that, let's go ahead and get back to the video. Yes, obviously mortgage rates are higher right now, which I'm sure you're quite well aware, but here's the thing. Here's what I find that many homeowners oftentimes overlook. If you're buying and selling at the same time, you're moving in the same market, meaning you're not being pushed in either direction. And maybe even more important than that is the fact that rates don't stay stuck at any one level forever. Yes, obviously it depends on what's going on in the market, but rates do go up, but they also go down. And yeah, we're all ready for them to come back down. The point though is just that whenever it is that rates do finally come down, you can always refinance the mortgage on your new home to the newer lower rates. But the price tag that you paid for your new home, that part does never go back down. It will always be what it is. And if the right home comes along and becomes available before rates do come back down, well, if that home fits your needs, your long-term plans, it could end up costing you more to wait. And I'm not just talking about only the price tag either. Even though, yes, that obviously is a big part of it, but you could also miss out on the location you're looking for, or maybe a floor plan or layout that best fits your needs, or maybe a builder incentive that's here today isn't here 6 months from now. In fact, actually a great example of that one is I had a client, he and his wife, I was working with them about a couple months back now, and we were looking at new construction homes, and they were on the fence. And obviously, I mean, it's a big purchase, and so yes, they were a little bit on the fence. You know, should we go for it? Should we make the move? So we sat down, worked strategy, looked at the numbers, and ultimately they did decide to move forward. So they ended up purchasing one of the new construction homes, and good for them that they did, because it was just, I want to say like 2 or 3 weeks later, something like that, but the builder ended up reducing the amount of the incentive they were giving from $20,000 down to $10,000. So had they waited, it would have cost them some money. Something to think about, and that is that waiting does not always necessarily lead to saving. I mean, many times it could end up leading to settling. And when we're talking about your next home, that's not something you want to compromise on. Yes, mortgage rates are higher to purchase a home today than in, say, 2021, but hopefully so is your income. Your equity definitely should be higher, and in many cases, your options may be higher too.
Sounds good to me.
If your plan is to upsize, then you should definitely be using the equity in the sale of your current house to help you with your purchase to offset some of that cost. If you're downsizing, then you could potentially help yourself significantly with your next mortgage. In fact, maybe even eliminate the need for a mortgage altogether. And if you're buying new construction, right now most builders are offering incentives. I mean, I'm seeing them offer incentives for rate buy downs, closing cost credits, free upgrades, but there's no guarantees that these incentives are going to be here next year, or at least no guarantees that they're going to be as good as they are today. What happens if you wait, if you just say, you know, I'm going to put this off until next year? Well, first of all, let me just say that no one can predict what mortgage rates are going to do. They can make an educated forecast, but they can't predict.
Show me, oh magic crystal ball.
And while the current forecasts are that we're probably not going to see a lot of changes in the rates this year, at least certainly not the changes we're all looking for, but many do still anticipate that rates are going to start moving in the right direction next year. Home prices, though, in many Southern California markets, especially here in the Inland Empire, they're still rising. Slowly but steadily, but they are still rising. And in fact, current forecasts are that we should see home prices rise between 2 to 3% by the end of the year. And if we look at it on an overall basis, we're definitely on track for that. Not to mention the material and labor costs for new construction homes. Yeah, those aren't getting any cheaper either. The reality is, a year from now, mortgage rates, they could still end up coming down like they're currently forecast to do. But your next home could still end up costing you more, not less. Real estate has and always will be about time in the market, not about timing the market, especially when we're talking about a move that better meets your needs and lifestyle. Please do not misunderstand me though, because I am definitely not saying that you should ever jump into this blindly. You definitely want to make sure you have a smart strategy in place, and that means that you should know what your current house is worth today, because that's going to affect the equity that you have available to use for your next purchase. Figuring out where you want to go next and why you want to go there. Again, are you upsizing, downsizing, relocating? What are the needs that you have that are prompting this move? Understanding your financing and timing. Will you need a mortgage for your next home? And if so, how much will you need? The equity from the sale of your current house could, or at least it should, help with paying down a good portion of your next purchase, or, as I said earlier, maybe even allow you to purchase your next home in cash and not even need a mortgage at all. Having a plan to coordinate the sale of your current house and purchase your new home without getting stuck in between. In other words, what is the plan to make sure that you don't find yourself with either two mortgages until your current house sells, or homeless because you haven't found your new home yet? If you're wondering, okay, Jose, then how do we do that? How do we make sure that we don't end up with a second mortgage or end up homeless? And I will say there are a few options that are available to be able to help you do that. Feel free to reach out. Or what you could do is, if you prefer instead, you can also check out this playlist right here after you finish this video, of course, but check out that playlist where I have a few videos that I made that discuss this very subject. The point though is that if you have equity in your current house and you have been thinking about making a move, don't let the noise stop you, because in many cases it could end up costing you more if you decide to wait. Of course, with that said, if you do have any questions or if you are thinking about buying or selling a home, my contact information is below. Feel free to reach out. Otherwise, until then, I'll catch you in the next one.